We can add like a few seconds.
Okay. Hey Jocelyn, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, of
How are you
course.
doing? What brings you here?
Yeah, so it's been rough lately. I just lost my mom to cancer a few days ago. It's been a pretty like traumatic experience for my family. We're still planning the funeral and everything, but it's just been overwhelming with like everything else going on in my life. Like I just moved out to college, and now I lost my mom, and so I just like don't have like my best friend there to like help me with all the like new life transitions, if that makes sense.
I am so sorry. First off, that is a lot to be going through all at once, especially the transitioning to college. How long has your mom had cancer for?
So it was actually not very long, but it was stage 4. So it was pretty fast moving. She got diagnosed about 6 months ago. So, and we didn't know that she was gonna have like a timeline, I guess, or like a end date. You know, when the doctors give you like that warning, until like her last chemo, which was 2 weeks ago, and they said that things had progressed and spread throughout her whole body. So it was kind of just like a panic all of a sudden. We just didn't know what to do or what to expect. So it's been really hard.
So you had 2 weeks of knowing before she passed away, if I'm understanding correct.
Yeah, but it was just a big panic. So
Yeah. What thoughts like were going through your head? How did that look for you during the 2 weeks?
Honestly, I just like I felt kind of like I was drowning and just like all the thoughts and feelings. I didn't really know what to feel or think. I just didn't know like what the next weeks were gonna look like. And like I said, she's my best friend, so I just didn't really know how I was gonna move on without her. I'm close with my dad, but I just have a lot more. I don't know. I have a closer relationship with my mom. I just talk to her about everything. So yeah, it's been really hard just to move forward, and like I've just been feeling pretty depressed. I feel like the depression just hit. It was kind of just numbing before. I just didn't really. I felt like I was in a shock.
Yeah.
So yeah, recently I've been a lot more depressed and just feeling like I don't have a purpose anymore.
I'm sorry. With you saying you moved to college, did you see her during those 2 weeks, or were you at home? I'm just to make sure I can understand that a little better.
Yeah, so when she went to her last chemo, she did like a big call with the family and like let us all know the news. So my professors were great. They were able to like let me just not be at class so that I could go be with my mom. So we all went home for the 2 weeks, and we've just been spending time together, which was really good, but it was still a lot of panic, I feel like, which was kind of hard because it made it a lot more traumatic than it could have been. It wasn't just like a peaceful goodbye. It was like we have to get everything like figured out. We have to plan the funeral before she's even gone. So it was like sadness before the sadness, if that makes sense.
It sounds like you didn't really get that time just to be with her because of all the preparations that were happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like you got to say that goodbye though before she passed?
No, which was really hard. My dad had asked me to go pick up some prescriptions for her, and then I guess something happened where her heart rate dropped or something. She was hooked to a bunch of monitors because they knew she was going to be going. So we had a bunch of monitors going off, but while I was gone, her heart rate dropped and she like started to have a seizure. And when I got home, she had already passed. So that was really hard for me because the whole rest of my all my other family members were like there when it happened.
Yeah.
And although I like had spent a lot of time with my mom, I felt like I didn't get like that last goodbye, you know?
Yeah, you didn't get the closure of her passing on. Moving forward with that funeral coming up, is there anything that you're expecting to have happen to help gain that closure?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, it'll be nice to just be surrounded by all of our family members, and maybe even just hearing people talk about her life and celebrating everything she went for and the kind of person she was will help provide that closure. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to like know where that will come from, just because I feel like I missed that last like moment with her. But I know journaling has helped a lot, just kind of providing that closure without having her actually physically here.
Yeah.
So I've been journaling a lot to try to just put my thoughts out on a piece of paper and just kind of say for sure that she is gone.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that the depression hit after her passing. How does that depression manifest itself? Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, it's been kind of hard to notice recently just because I feel like I'm in such a, like, I don't know, my brain's in like a million places.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like yesterday and today were the first days that I really just felt super hopeless and like depressed. It's kind of been manifesting more in just a lack of motivation. I just like don't feel like doing anything ever. Like I just want to sleep all the time because it numbs the pain, and I don't like to do what I used to do. I don't feel motivated to like work out like I used to, so I feel like it's a lot more just a lack of motivation and like self-care, taking care of myself. Like I'm not eating very well or drinking enough water usually, so
that lack of motivation, and you said, has that been happening since the passing or just this past couple of days like you just said?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of bad at like taking care of myself, but my mom was kind of, she always checked up on me and made sure I was taking care of myself, so I feel like it really hit when she was gone, because I was like, well, like there's no point anymore, like she's not here to make sure I'm doing okay, which I know is bad thinking, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and then you mentioned hopelessness and correlation with the motivation. Are those correlated? Like, is hopelessness to you being unmotivated, or kind of explain that, what that hopelessness means?
Yeah, I feel like they are correlated, just like in that I don't feel like I have anything to live for, really. My mom, like, she was the one who was like my cheerleader, and so it always meant the world to me when like I would succeed and my mom would be proud of me, and so I feel like that hopelessness does come like into play a lot more, and it leads to the depression just because I feel like there's a disconnect now. My mom was that middle piece, you know?
Yeah. So you said you don't feel like you have anything to live for right now. Have you had any thoughts of suicide?
I haven't. I mean, I guess I've had thoughts about it, more so just like what it would be like if I wasn't here, and then it would be nice to get out of the pain, but I don't actively feel like it's worth it to like move forward with any plans. I think I don't know if this would be considered suicidal ideation or anything, but it's more just like I'm not eating or taking care of myself, so kind of like more starvation and just like not like taking care of myself, if that makes sense.
Well, that is our 8
job.
minutes. Thanks. We'll go into the 2-minute debrief, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
What do you got for me, Jocelyn?
So first off, you did a really great job.
Thank you.
You were very good at validating and like having me restate things you weren't sure about, which I really liked. I also liked that you, I feel like you did a really good job of also like making me feel heard, which I guess is part of validation, but you like dug into like, you dug into like specific areas that I don't know, I didn't like expect, and so it made me feel like, oh wow, like this is a problem and a big deal. So I feel like as a therapist, it's nice to like help make sure that the client feels heard, but also not like pry too much. I don't know, is that like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like you did a good job of like finding a balance between like tell me everything and like just getting like what you needed to work with the problem.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that does. I guess like how was my rapport building? Because that's something I really wanted to focus on during
You
this.
did a really good job, actually.
Right.
I felt
Thanks.
no, I thought you did a really good job of like you did the person and environment thing, where you like focused on like you asked me what was going on, and like how I was doing and what I was going through, but then you also like talked about like all the things that affect me, which like obviously the cancer situation, my family, and then you talked about like schooling. So I thought you did a really good job of like making me feel like really, what's the word? Like supported, but there's a different word. Like, you did a really good job,
Okay.
of rapport building, I felt like. So
Thank
I
you.
trusted you as a therapist. She's a good therapist.
Well, thanks. We'll call that a wrap.